welcome back. This is Grillenheimer. Okay, what we have going today is Transformers the TCG. So welcome, Transformer TCG fans. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following. We're going to get into this. And now we have the Spedabots. Just kidding. These are the ones I originally drew. Then I redrew them again. And then I recolored them in the computer. And now they look like this. Man, they're really looking great. I think these are final. The third time's a charm, they say. So let's get into it. We changed their stats a little bit. I've brought them down. Instead of having a funky number of stars for some of them and totaling their combined form for 24 stars, now they're just all even 5 and make a 5-star combiner. So they do not have a stratagem. Okay, so if I made one before, I don't think I did, then it's, you know, oh well. So let's get into it. I want to go through these as quick as I can. We got some neat stuff here. Stardom is the leader. He is the Spedabot leader. If you are from my Earth Wars page, guys, yes, I'm the Alliance captain. And thanks for being here. These are the characters that the Alliance is based off of. Characters that I created in 1987 when I was around my junior high school years, and at my school, almost said the name by accident, but I guess it doesn't matter because the school's gone. It's just not there anymore. Stardom, he is a spaceship in melee and alt mode. He is ranged. Changed to ranged in bot mode. In alt mode, he has an attack of 2, defense of 2, health of 10 now. It used to be 11. I brought it down. His attack does go up to 4 in bot mode, and his defense remains the same. He is a supportive character for the rest of the team. Maybe I should add a little until end of turn on the back of these, but let's read it. Each Spedabot on your team gets, each spaceship on your team gets bold 1. So he is a 5-star. You could put him just simply with a shockwave or a sound wave, Alpha Trion with other spaceships. If you're trying to stick with the 25-star limit, you know, there's that. You might have just a few stars left over for, you know, maybe a couple of star battle cards, etc. So there's that. He does have when you flip to this mode, you may search your scrap for a weapon upgrade and put it in your hand. So you're gonna, when he transforms or flips to alt mode from bot mode, you can get weapons from your scrap, you know, like that. If you haven't already played a weapon for turn, you can play that weapon for turn. So, you know, you might want to watch how you're doing things. Of course, having the UFO card, unidentified flying object card with Alpha Trion on it, I love that. That is just hilarious. You definitely will want that card with these guys. If I remember correctly, I believe it's a blue pip card to be able to go back and forth between from bot mode to alt mode is what that card is for, if I remember correctly. So from bot mode to spaceship mode. So you could do that because it's their combiner. They have an Enigma. Once you get them all in bot mode, you play your Enigma, you're going to be able to combine them into Strydor, the big bot. So let's keep going. Each in bot mode, he has focus 1. Each spaceship on your team gets tough 1 until end of turn. If I need to add that, I can and get it in the final. I've already added these guys in Dropbox, but they're not their final forms. It's this artwork, but there's some text that I have corrected. And if I need to put that on here, it's the intent. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, you can't build up tough or bold this way, but it's only going to give them bold or tough for their spaceship forms. Okay, so that's what Stardom is going to help out with. Flipping to alt mode, get weapons out of your scrap. In bot mode, if he is KO'd. Now, I can't remember, because Decepticons have range. I came up with payback for my Beast War Maximals, if you remember. I had this called something else. I can't remember if ATP or I almost said the Mask. The Arc came up with an Autobot kind of term or not. but I'm just reusing Payback here, okay? So Payback, when this is KO'd, draw 2. Or maybe I should say draw 2 cards. But it's just draw 2. You have a deck, that's where you draw your cards from, so it just should be that obvious. So that is Stardom. Let's go on to Strydof, who is our linguist. He is a spaceship and specialist and alt mode, a specialist and bot mode. He's the one specialist out of the 5. He has an attack of 2, health of 6, defense of 2, attack of 3 in bot mode. His defense remains the same. All right, so in alt mode, when this attacks, do 1 damage to an untapped enemy. So you're only going to be able to give that non-attack damage to untapped characters of your opponent. And if they're 1 tall and they've already tapped, and then you get to tap or attack with the rest of the Spedabots, well, that's not going to happen because their character's already tapped. But so as long as they have untapped characters, he's going to be able to get that pulled off. In his bot mode, he does have bold 1. He's the only one that I gave bold or anything else to. Stardom does have focus 1 in bot mode. Strydof has bold 1 in bot mode. When you flip to this mode, draw 1 card from your deck, and you may plan 1. Of course, plan, if you look into Wave 1 or wherever plan came into play, it is a Mother May I. You don't have to plan 1 or 2. So you could use this as draw power. And that's sort of the key of these characters, is there is some draw power here. Getting cards from your scrap, drawing 2, and he's KO'd in bot mode. If you can do that, of course, him being Stardom being a supporting character, you're probably going to be wanting him to stay out there as long as you can. If you're wanting to attack using their alt modes, probably not. You're probably going to want to get into Strydor as quick as you can. So there is that. So Strydof has some draw power as well when you just simply flip him to bot mode. Get UFO really going, you're going to be able to draw in some. Speared is the lone speedster. When I came up with him, I apologize, there's construction vehicles all around my house right now. Sorry, I am surrounded by Constructicons. I am surrounded by Constructicons. Anyway, there goes Mixmaster and Bobcat. Anyway, so Speared is kind of a Wolverine-ish character because I was really big into Wolverine in the comics back in the 80s and early 90s. So he is a spaceship and melee in alt mode. He's ranged. He changed to range to bot mode. This was the first thing I ever recolored of the artwork that I had done on these just last year. I think when I started recoloring them or redrawing them, because originally, there's the 87 drawing from high school. Then I drew these in I didn't put a date on here, probably 2019. Then I redrew these in this artwork, 2021, somewhere in there. And then I colored them with marker, and now I've reused the same artwork and recolored them in the computer, and they don't look half bad. So his in alt mode, he has the least amount of attack as a spaceship of 1, health of 7, defense of 2. In bot mode, his attack goes up to 4, his defense comes down to 1. In alt mode, when at least a battle card that has no battle icons is flipped for battle, this gets +2 to attack or +2 to defense until end of turn. So yes, if you are, so some of these guys have some neat perks when they, oh my goodness, it's Powerline. I am surrounded. I made Powerline anyway. So like, was it Skywarp, Wave 1 Skywarp, that when you flip with blank pip cards, that you're able to get some things done similar to this. I was doing that with Speared here. So that would make his attack, base attack, go up to 1 to 3, his defense from 2 to 4, which would be, with this ability, if you can pull it off, that would be the most defense of any of the characters here, is Speared. But of course, when he turns into Bot mode, his attack does go up, and it can even go up even more when at least a green and a blank pip card are flipped for turn. This gets +2 to attack until end of turn. So you probably, if you're only flipping 2, Stardom is only going to give benefits to spaceships. This is not his spaceship form, unless you flip like a white and able to flip 2 more. But you're probably going to want a very aggressive deck here with Pierce, with black and orange, and some white and some blanks, and definitely doubled up with some green pip cards to help Spirit out here. So if you happen to flip only a green and a blank, then his attack goes from 4 to 6. So, at least that. You flip any more oranges in the midst of that, then yes, it would be 6 plus that as well, plus whatever weapon he happens to have on. So, Stardom is going to kind of help with that as well when you're flipping him back and forth, if you want to do that. Again, you may not want to do that. So there's a lot of options here that I'm putting out there with these Spedabots. So there is, I almost said sludge, Speared. And that was another thing, is that when I originally created Spear back in '87, if I can find that artwork anymore, is that's where his name comes from. He was supposed to have like some holes here where his hands come out, the little black holes, where he can like do this, somewhere mixed between Wolverine and Spider-Man, and these black spears would come out that he could eject as an attack, and thus the name Speared. So that's kind of where that comes from. Lone Speedster. So even if he's not with this group, as long as you have some little more healthy amount of blank pip cards, which really don't help you on the flip, will help Speared, and it maybe even, is it Skywarp? I think one of the Seekers. Let's look at Blimpus next. No, let's look at Ramstidor. Ramstidor is the red one, the fast satellite, spaceship, and ranged in alt mode and ranged in bot mode. I guess he's a ranged character. Sorry. He does have since he was completely red, I actually did the Autobot symbol on him in white, so you can see it. And as you can see here, I've figured out the trick, and boy, is it a trick in Paint 3D to be able to cut out the part of where the domes of their pilot seat domes here, and I did it here. You can just see just a little bit of where it ended right there, but I did it for this whole thing here. Didn't do it on Spear, but you can really see it on Strydor, and it just looks really cool because it looks like, especially for the ones that are in space, not all of them are in space. He's in the clouds here, and then here in the 86 movie drop back for Stardom's bot mode, is that they're in space, and so this is, I think, NASA pictures, if I remember correctly, or Hubble shots, I think, that I kind of put them on as a background. So it looks like he's got a star reflection of the stars on their glass domes here. I didn't do it for Speared because he was one of the first ones I did, and I don't think I did it on Blimpus. No, I didn't. But anyway, so there's that, which I thought was really cool. It's a trick. Let me tell you, it's a trick. So Ramstidor is a completely ranged character. Attack of 2, health of 6, defense of 2. So his health is a little lower, like Strydof here, than the rest. Speared and Blimpus are 7, Strydof and Ramstidor is 6, Stardom is 10. It does total 36. We'll get to that in a second. So when no blue pips are flipped for attack, this gets +2 to attack until end of turn. So as long as, like I said, you're keeping this like an aggressive deck, orange, black, green, maybe your normal 9 whites, and little more blank pip cards than you would like to have to be able to maybe help Spirit out. Then your 3 normal handheld blasters, as long as you don't flip any blue, he's going to get an attack of 4, not including any orange you flip, as well as any weapons on as Ramstidor as well. So there is that. So I do give them some perks for trying to attack in alt mode, especially if you're not wanting to combine. If you're not wanting to combine, then you don't have to use the Enigma. You don't have to have it in your deck, but having the Enigma, which is a green pip card, would help Spirit out as well. So there is that. But we also have other plenty of green pip cards as well that are really good. Ramstidor in his bot mode, his attack goes up to 3. His defense comes down to 1 in bot mode. When this attacks, and this is where I have one last correction in here. When this attacks and his total attack, this should be total attack damage, not attack damage. When his total attack damage equals 3, tap an untapped enemy. So I'm trying to give him somewhat of a blur aspect here. Of course, the official blur, if a certain thing is met, you can attack again. Sorry, I had a call. So where were we? Okay, so this needs to be total attack damage equals 3. So I was talking about blur and Ramstidor. So if Ramstidor has attacks your attack, you get an attack on an opponent. Say you have a fusion bore on him, and they are able to defend most of the brunt of his attack, which would be 6 plus whatever you flip. If they defend all of it or most of it, and you only get to pierce a 3, boom, they have someone untapped. You can tap them. So that's sort of his speed aspect here. It's kind of strong, but I did to make sure that something needs to be triggered in order for that to happen. So that is Ramstidor. Blimpus is last. I'm running out of time. He is our Sluggard Scout. We've gone over him before. Spaceship, melee, and melee. So he's a very melee character, just like Ramstidor's ranged. Spirit is both, Stardom is both, and Strydof is our 1 specialist. Blimpus has an attack of 2. He has a defense of 3 in alt mode and a health of 7. His attack goes up to 3. His defense comes down to 1 in bot mode. When you flip to this mode, alt mode, when you flip to this mode, scrap an enemy upgrade. That's pretty neat. So yeah, UFO is going to be, if you want to use UFO, I think it's a blue pip card though, so you may not want the blue. But if you want to keep scrapping it, be able to scrap your opponent's upgrades, that would be good to do. So Blimpus in his bot mode, when this defends, so this is going to be triggered when he's defending, and takes more than 3 damage, 3 total damage. Not 3 and up, but more, at least 4, 5, or 6 without getting KO'd. Flip this to its other mode. So if he gets a pretty big hit, a damage of 4, 5, or 6, flip him back, and it's like he's hitting the opponent back, and or not that, you can pick one. It doesn't have to be the attacker or who attacked him. You get to scrap an enemy upgrade. So he is good for that. Very, very simple. But he does have to go from bot mode to alt mode, or if he defends in bot mode, has enough damage more than 3, but not enough to KO him, you get to flip him back and scrap an upgrade. So here we go. Now there is a little bit of overlap, and I had to change this because it was originally their health was different. It totaled 41, and I thought that was too much, so I knocked off some health, and now they're 36 instead of 41, which might be a little better for the game. So this isn't going to quite line up completely correctly, but just about. That works pretty good. Here we go. And I did, when I drew this, it should be obvious that I was actually looking, not tracing, looking at Optimus Maximus for how I wanted this guy to look, while looking at my original drawings, some of my original drawings, as well as, here we go, get that out of the glare, as well as kind of flipping it, because I think Optimus Maximus is pointing to the right, Strydor is pointing to the left, and he's holding the gun in his right hand. The gun, I did not completely draw the whole gun, so when you do see the Enigma, you're going to see that cut off of the gun there for his shadow self. Strydor is the Foreseer, based on my original plot idea for these guys. They have prescience. They can kind of foresee things before they happen, but yet they still get killed. Ranged leader, attack of 6, health of 36, defense of 2. Okay, so when this combines, scrap all upgrades from an enemy. So one. Not all of them, but one. So you're going to want to pick an enemy. If you haven't been flipping Blimpus, you can choose not to do that, to try to keep an enemy building up the security with one of their characters with lots of upgrades. Once you get Strydor, you're like, I got my Enigma, build them up, have that enemy scrap all their upgrades, and do 1 damage to the same enemy for every 3 upgrades scrapped. So if they have 6 upgrades, I don't know, 3 attack drones, like anyone uses attack drones anymore, 3 extra paddings, maybe maybe a utility, that would be 7 upgrades. Boom, gone. You can also get 2 non-attack damage on that character as well, right after you scrap all their upgrades. So it's good in 2 ways. That's like the big draw for this guy, on top of him having draw 1, plan 1, and focus 1. So you can focus on the attack and the defense, but only 1. I originally had it much bigger than that. I had the draw much bigger. If you remember when I drew it originally in this style, it was draw 4, plan 3. It was crazy. And I'm like, let's not do that. So draw 1, plan 1, focus 1. It's a one-time thing. When he combines, scrap all upgrades from one of your enemies. If there's at least 3, you can get attack 1 non-attack damage up to 6. Upgrades do 2 attack damage, non-attack damage. If they have 9, yeah, you see where we're going here. I mean, wipe it out, get some attack damage done. Now, that's the gist of it, really. The other ability here is interesting because it's changing his defense depending on who he's defending against. Think of Gestalts. How do they work? They're big, they're tall, they're standing. All the ones on the ground are fighting, ground type, and then you have flyers. And sometimes when they're flying, it's hard to attack back, etc. So that's what I was thinking with here along this. So when this defends against a car, tank, train, truck, or motorcycle, this gets +1 defense for battle. Should it say end of turn? Due to, since I already wrote the word defends, when it defends against, I thought for battle seemed okay. Instead of end of turn, it's not your turn anyway when you're defending. So I thought for battle seemed fine. His defense is going to be 3. When this defends against a plane, spaceship, or helicopter, this has -1 defense for battle. So his defense is going to come down to 1. Now, if you notice, this does not include Insecticons. It does not include planets. It does not include Seekers. There may be a few other little traits that's not included here. In that effect, his defense would be 2. Okay, so there is that. So, and yeah, there is this should be kind of understood now because the game has been out for so long, but defense cannot be less than 0. I didn't have room for that. It is on the scraplet card. I did correct the scraplet card. So, if someone is playing scraplets against my Strydor, they could only play 2 to knock his defense down to 0. But if they're attacking with a car, tank, train, or whatever, well, now his defense is 3. So then they could play 3 scraplet cards and knock his defense down to 0. But because his defense would be considered 3 at that point. Okay, just as an example. But I didn't have really any room down here to put on here that defense can't be less than 0, which, like I said, should just be common knowledge now. So that's really all we have right now. I think they look great. I'm really excited for this. I mean, it just about matches up, so I'm not too worried about that. This is a trick trying to get this to work like this, So what do you think? 6 new characters. We have a new combiner. I've been working diligently on these for going on 3 years now. Unless want to go all the way back to 1987, and let's say no. So, Blimpus, Strydor, Stardom, Ramstidor, Speared. Booyah, here we go. And they're Autobots. They're spaceships. Have fun with it. I think they're going to be a neat addition. I don't know. I have not tested them or played them in this final form. So I hope the health of 36 is okay. Let me know what you think. Make your put your ideas and whatever in the comments. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Have not just a great day, but a blessed day. And as always, well, I see we have a new gestalt in the field. Yes. Petacons, terrorize.